Welcome back to our deep dive. Today we're tackling something that, well, many of us think of as a pretty solo journey, self-help. But we're going to look at it differently.
That's right.
Our topic is Together We Grow, the power of community and self-help.
hmm
You often picture someone alone, maybe reading a book, working on themselves. But when you dig into the research, the articles, something else really pops out.
It really does.
Our own growth seems deeply tied to the people around us. So our mission today is to really explore how connecting with others can, supercharge your self-help efforts, make them stick.
It's a great topic.
Mm.
And it is a bit of a paradox, isn't it? Self-improvement sounds so individual,
Right.
but the evidence, well, it really points towards our social connections being vital.
Mm.
Like you said, the sources we looked at highlight this idea that humans are fundamentally wired for connection.
Wired for connection. What does that mean exactly in simple terms?
Think of it like this. Just like we need food, water, safety, basic survival stuff, we also have this deep biological need for, well, interacting with others, social connection.
Okay.
Our brains are actually structured for it. Our well-being depends on it. So the whole human experience, really, it's social at its core.
So if we're fundamentally social creatures, how does that wiring actually, help someone who's trying to make changes, setting goals, facing challenges, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's where it gets really practical. When you look at the psychology, the emotions behind self-improvement, social support is, well, it's huge.
Uh-huh.
Imagine having people who actually listen, who give you a boost when you're down, who just get what you're going through.
That sounds pretty good.
It's transformative. That kind of support network acts like a buffer. It helps you handle the inevitable bumps in the road, the setbacks, with more resilience. It's like having cheerleaders and a safety net combined.
Yeah, I can see that. Facing something tough definitely feels less scary when you know someone's got your back. And it sounds like it's more than just practical help. There's a big emotional piece, too.
Oh, absolutely. A huge emotional piece. Strong social support gives you emotional validation that feeling your experiences matter, they're understood.
Okay.
And it provides a sense of security, knowing
Mm.
people care. And what's really interesting, research shows people with strong social ties actually perceive stress differently.
How so?
They tend to see stressful situations as less overwhelming. And get this, their bodies often show a reduced physiological stress response.
Wow, really? So it affects you physically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like having that community support actually helps regulate your internal stress levels, makes challenges feel less threatening, even on a biological level. It's pretty remarkable.
That is remarkable. Okay, so this feels really important for anyone who's ever felt like, I'm the only one going through this. How does community directly tackle that feeling of isolation?
That's a key benefit. Community acts as a really powerful antidote to isolation and loneliness, which can seriously derail self-help efforts.
Right.
When you join a support network, you get this deep sense of belonging. You feel accepted, valued by the group.
Mm-hmm.
And that really boosts your self-worth, your sense of security. Just knowing others understand your specific struggles, it's incredibly comforting. It makes it easier to push back against that urge to withdraw when things get tough.
Which is so easy to do.
Exactly. And overcoming that isolation is vital because, loneliness isn't just sad. It's linked to real negative health outcomes,
Mm-hmm.
depression, anxiety, even heart disease.
Wow, okay.
So connection isn't just about feeling better emotionally. It's actually protective for your overall health.
So real physical health links there too, not just mental well-being. Let's focus on mental health specifically for a moment. The sources you looked at really draw a clear line between community and psychological health.
Oh, definitely. The link is very well established. Study after study shows strong social connections are a major predictor of overall well-being.
Okay.
They act as a protective factor against things like depression and anxiety. Think of it like a shield.
A shield against mental distress. I like it.
Yeah. Social support boosts our emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back.
Uh-huh.
And it helps lower stress, which naturally leads to a more positive mindset. And that's foundational for self-improvement, right?
Absolutely.
And conversely, the data also shows that poor social support often correlates with higher rates of depression and anxiety. It really highlights how crucial connection is for mental wellness.
And what about how we see ourselves? Our self-esteem, our confidence, those can take a hit when we're pushing ourselves to grow. How does community help build those up?
That's another huge area. Being part of a supportive community is like a powerful fuel injection for self-esteem and confidence. When you're around people who genuinely value you, appreciate you for who you are, It just naturally strengthens how you feel about yourself. Your self-worth goes up.
Makes sense.
And research backs this up. There's a clear link between perceived social support and higher self-esteem. Feeling valued, feeling capable. That's fundamental if you're trying to improve yourself.
Right.
And the encouragement, the positive feedback you get from that community, it's vital fuel for keeping those positive self-perceptions going, especially when you hit a rough patch and start doubting yourself.
Yeah, that constant reminder of your strength. Very powerful. Okay, let's talk about motivation. That's a big one in self-help, isn't it? Starting strong is one thing, keeping it going is another.
You nailed it.
Yeah.
Motivation is often a huge hurdle. And this is where social relationships really, really shine.
How so?
Well, community encouragement is a massive driver for reaching your goals. Think about it. You share your hopes with people who care, they cheer you on. That creates accountability.
Accountability, yes.
You're just more likely to follow through when you know others are aware of your goals and rooting for you.
True.
And some communities, like mastermind groups we can talk about later, they actually build accountability right into their structure. It spurs action.
Okay.
That shared sense of purpose, that uplifting vibe in a supportive group.
Yeah.
It gives you the push you need to overcome inertia, those I don't feel like it moments, and stay consistent.
You've mentioned belonging a few times. It sounds like a really core benefit. Why is that feeling so important in this context?
It really is fundamental. Community and self-help fosters that deep sense of belonging, of connectedness. And that's not just nice to have, it's a basic human need.
Right.
Support networks just inherently offer that feeling you're part of something bigger. You're accepted, understood. And social support actively nurtures that connection. Interestingly, even online forums, connecting people with shared self-improvement goals can create a surprisingly strong sense of belonging.
Even online.
Yeah. And feeling connected like that isn't just comforting. It impacts everything. Mental health, resilience, the whole package.
So it goes beyond the emotional boost and the cheerleading. It sounds like we actually learn practical skills too, better ways to handle things.
Exactly right. Communities are like living resources for developing better coping skills and sharpening problem-solving abilities.
How does that work?
Well, when you're in a support system, you're exposed to all sorts of different perspectives, different strategies people use for tackling challenges.
Okay.
Social support can offer totally new angles on problems you're stuck on, solutions you'd never have thought of alone.
Like collective brainstorming.
Precisely. The real magic is in that exchange of advice, sharing experiences you learn from each other's wins and mistakes on the self-improvement path. And research even links strong social support with having a clearer sense of purpose and being more proactive about your own growth.
This is all painting a really strong case for community. Now, community is kind of a broad term. Did the sources break down different types of self-help communities?
Yes, definitely. The landscape is quite varied, which is good because different things work for different people. We can look at three main types that popped up: mastermind groups, online forums, and local meetups.
Okay, let's start with mastermind groups. They sound kind of intense, maybe. What's the deal there?
They can be focused, yeah. Masterminds are usually small, pretty tight-knit groups. People commit to meeting regularly, could be weekly, bi-weekly, monthly.
Okay.
And the main goal is collaboration and mutual support to help everyone hit their specific goals. Often there's a facilitator guiding things, keeping it structured.
Structured how?
Well, you might have check-ins on progress, maybe a hot seat where one member gets focused feedback and brainstorming from the group,
Oh, okay.
collaborative goal setting, and definitely accountability measures to keep everyone on track.
What are the big payoffs for joining something like that?
The benefits can be huge.
Yeah.
You get fresh perspectives, creative solutions from that group brainstorming. It can really accelerate your growth, personal or professional, because you're learning from others' experiences.
Right.
You expand your network naturally. The accountability and motivation are really powerful. Plus, you're tapping into shared knowledge, resources, maybe even finding collaborators. That synergy can be incredible. It helps you spot your blind spots, overcome limiting beliefs, maybe get some expert advice from within the group, and just pushes you out of your comfort zone.
Sounds like a powerful incubator for growth. Okay, shifting gears. Online self-improvement forums. These seem way more accessible for most people, right?
Totally. Online forums are everywhere now, super accessible, 21/7, no geographical limits.
Yeah.
They're great for sharing knowledge, exchanging ideas with people interested in the same things, and crucially, they offer emotional support and that sense of community we talked about. A big plus for many is the anonymity. It can feel like a safer space to discuss sensitive stuff, which helps reduce isolation and makes you realize your struggles are, well, pretty normal.
That's a good point. Feeling less alone.
Exactly. And because it's all user-generated content, there's just a ton of information and support out there, easy to find with a search engine.
Any specific examples people might know?
Sure. Reddit has loads of active communities like self-improvement or self-help. Then there are platforms like 7 Cups or Hey Peers, specifically designed for peer support. Lots of options.
Okay, so online offers accessibility, maybe anonymity. What about local self-help meetups? What's the unique magic of meeting in person?
The in-person connection. Local meetups offer that face-to-face interaction, which often builds a stronger, more immediate sense of community for many people.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a real chance for genuine peer socialization, building deeper relationships. You can exchange practical advice, coping strategies tailored to your shared local situation that's great for tackling loneliness right where you live. Plus, you often discover local resources you didn't know about. They're often peer-led, maybe facilitated, usually with some kind of agenda for sharing and supporting each other in a real-world setting.
Any common examples spring to mind?
Well, sites like meetup.com list tons of local groups for all sorts of interests, including self-improvement. And then you have well-known groups like Alcoholics Anonymous, holding local meetings everywhere for specific challenges. But there are countless others, focusing on anything from finance to mindfulness.
So we've got these different flavors of community. For someone listening now thinking, okay, I need this, what are the first steps? How do you find or even create your own support network?
Great question. It really starts with being proactive, intentional, and maybe a bit of self-reflection first.
Okay.
Take some time to really clarify your core values, what's truly important to you, and define your personal goals. What are you actually working towards?
Why start there?
Because that clarity helps you figure out what kind of community, what kind of support will actually be the best fit for you.
Got it.
Then start exploring. Look online. Look locally. What are your interests? Fitness, art, professional growth, hobbies. Search for groups centered around those things. Use platforms like Meetup, browse forums, check social media.
And what if you look around and nothing quite fits? What if you want to start your own?
That's a great option too.
Yeah.
If you create your own, first, define clear goals for the group. What's the purpose? What will members get out of it?
Right.
Then think about potential members, people with similar values, goals, interests. Focus on building real, authentic connections. Understand what matters to them. Offer your support.
Trust must be huge.
Absolutely critical. Build trust through consistency, honesty, transparency, reliability. Keep your commitments. Respect different opinions.
Okay.
Encourage open, honest talk. Create that safe, non-judgmental space. Foster a shared identity, a common purpose. Hold each other accountable. And don't forget to celebrate wins, big and small, individual and collective.
That's great practical advice. Now, digging a bit deeper into group dynamics, the sources also mention group coaching and peer mentoring. Let's unpack those. What's group coaching?
Group coaching is basically a trained coach working with several people at once. Usually people with similar goals or facing similar hurdles.
How's that different from one-on-one?
Big advantage is shared learning. You hear diverse perspectives, learn from others in the group, get insights you might miss alone.
Mm-hmm.
The group dynamic often boosts accountability too, shared responsibility, And it's usually more cost-effective than individual coaching.
Makes sense.
You get this collective wisdom effect. Plus, it's great for building communication skills, leadership potential, and of course, those social connections within the group.
Sounds really efficient. Okay, what about peer mentoring then? How does that work?
Peer mentoring is more of a developmental relationship between equals or people at a similar level, colleagues maybe, or folks on a similar life path.
Okay.
The focus is mutual support, sharing knowledge, collaborating to help each other grow.
And the benefits.
Lots. Mutual growth is key. Both mentor and mentee learn. It often feels more relatable, less intimidating because you likely share experiences or backgrounds.
Right.
It can be a real confidence booster for both people. You enhance skills, share specific knowledge, improve communication. There's inherent accountability, shared learning, and that crucial mutual support, especially when things get tough.
To really drive this home, the sources had some real-life examples, right? Stories showing this power in action.
Oh, absolutely. Real-world examples really illustrate the impact. Think about Alcoholics Anonymous. Its whole model is built on shared experience and mutual support for overcoming addiction. It's incredibly
That
powerful.
classic example.
Right, or organizations like United Way, connecting people with community resources for stability, enabling growth.
Hmm.
Mental health support groups provide that vital sense of belonging and understanding, crucial for recovery.
Uh-huh.
Even things like senior meetups, combating loneliness and boosting well-being later in life. Women's self-help groups fostering economic empowerment. Peer support programs in schools, helping students navigate challenges.
Wow, it really cuts across so many areas.
Exactly. These diverse examples just hammer home how transformative collective support can be for personal growth in almost any context.
It's compelling stuff, but let's be balanced. Community sounds great, but are there potential downsides? Did the sources mention challenges or pitfalls to watch out for?
Yes, it's important to be aware. Potential challenges exist. One is misinformation, bad advice getting shared, especially online where moderation might be iffy.
Uh-huh.
Negative group dynamics can crop up, too much complaining, distractions, even conflicts. Confidentiality breaches can happen, eroding trust.
Hmm.
Sometimes the content shared, especially on sensitive topics, can be emotionally distressing. There's a slight risk of becoming overly reliant on the group, hindering your own coping skills.
Right.
Social comparison can creep in, making you feel inadequate instead of motivated. And online, things like cyberbullying or just lack of commitment can be issues.
So knowing these risks, how do you navigate them effectively? What's the advice for getting the good stuff without the bad?
It's about being mindful and proactive. Choose groups with clear guidelines, ideally with trained facilitators or moderators who keep things safe and respectful.
The two.
Always cross-reference information, especially health advice, with reliable sources. Set personal boundaries, feel okay disengaging, or even leaving if a group feels negative or unhelpful.
Yeah, protect your own energy.
Exactly. Focus on your progress, try not to get caught in the comparison trap, and actively seek out groups with a positive, empowering, growth-focused vibe.
Makes sense. Finally, the sources really seem to stress the importance of shared values and goals as the foundation for an effective community. Why are those so critical?
They're absolutely foundational. Shared values, things like trust, respect, empathy, commitment to growth, they create the psychological safety net.
Okay.
That safety allows for acceptance, understanding, and that deep sense of belonging where people feel okay being vulnerable.
Right.
When members share core beliefs or principles, they cooperate better towards common goals. Whether that's sobriety, mental wellness, hitting milestones, it boosts motivation, commitment.
Uh-huh.
And shared values give you a framework for resolving conflicts when they pop up, which they inevitably do.
And what about the shared goals aspect?
Equally vital. Aligned goals create unity, a shared purpose, collective support. When goals are clear and specific, everyone knows the direction.
Okay.
Individuals can see how their own efforts contribute to the group's mission. This boosts motivation and keeps people engaged long-term. When everyone's pulling in the same direction, the community just works better.
This has been incredibly illuminating, a fantastic deep dive. It's crystal clear that while self-help is personal, it's definitely not something we have to do entirely alone. Connecting with others just makes the whole process richer, stronger, more sustainable.
Exactly. The takeaways are pretty clear, aren't they?
Yeah.
Community builds resilience, cuts down isolation, improves mental health, boosts self-esteem, fuels motivation, creates belonging, and gives us better coping skills.
Yeah.
And remember, there are different ways to find it: masterminds, online forums, local meetups, something for everyone.
And the key, as you said, is choosing intentionally, finding that fit with your own values and goals. So for everyone listening, as you think about your own growth path, maybe pause and consider, where could community give you a real boost? What's one small step you could take, maybe even today, to start finding or building that connection? Searching online, looking up a local group, reaching out to a potential peer mentor. It's a step towards growing together. Definitely worth thinking about.